This is part 2 of the cost of selling a home in San Diego, real estate fees. If you haven't yet, go back and watch part 1 first. You'll find the link below. So let's continue. In San Diego, California, selling a house is not as simple as finding a buyer, receiving payment, and handing over the keys. To sell a home in San Diego in today's real estate market, you must be a real estate expert or have the help of one in both selling a home in San Diego and marketing the San Diego real estate. There are numerous real estate fees associated with getting a home sold that you should know about, and naturally the cost of selling a home in San Diego will be specific to your situation and real estate transaction. Hi, I'm Kim Ward. I help sellers that are executors, administrators, or trustees, and sometimes traditional sellers, but mostly I help with homes that are in probate or trust administration in San Diego. Again, if you haven't yet watched part 1, all about the cost of selling a home in San Diego, real estate fees, you'll want to do that and then watch this video. Now, let's talk about marketing costs. You'll be happy to know that this is also not part of the cost of selling a home in San Diego. It's included in the real estate fees. There are the costs associated with listing the home on the local MLS. That would be the multiple listing service. And here it's called the San Diego Multiple Listing Service. It also includes the expense to provide signposts and signs, plus any other marketing costs such as having the home listed on all the main websites like Trulia, Zillow, and more. And now addressing the remaining personal property. Since the home is in probate or trust administration, part of the cost of selling a home that you'll need to budget for is the possible costs related to actually removing any remaining personal property. And since we are experts with helping in estate matters, we can help with addressing the remaining personal property once the family has removed items that are important to them. We have all the vendors needed because we have a probate real estate prep team. In many cases, the estate does not actually pay to address the remaining personal property. Some executors, administrators, and trustees choose the buyout plan to handle the personal property. And much of the time, there are enough items for the buyout company to remove them and all the unsaleable items. And when they sell them, they make enough to have that type of business, buying out what remains in a home that we are preparing to sell. A buyout isn't the only way to address the remaining personal property. There are 2 other options, estate sale or donation. I'll help guide you towards your best option and you make the decision. Another cost of selling a home here in San Diego are utilities. Executors, administrators, and trustees need to leave the utilities on while the probate real estate or house in a trust is on the market. Once the home is scheduled to be sold, your final utility bills should be prorated as of the date of sale. Homeowners insurance for vacant property is also a cost of selling a home in San Diego. Did you know that the existing homeowners insurance policy may not cover the property when it's vacant? If the home is going to be vacant for any period of time, it's important to talk to your insurance agent about adding a rider to cover that period. But that said, many insurance companies will not cover vacant homes because of the liability. So I have the contact information of an insurance company that will cover a home in San Diego when it's vacant. You can try Foremost Insurance Company if you want a quote, which will typically be much higher than your homeowner's insurance currently is, again, because of the extreme liability. But once you have that insurance, you can rest easy that if there's anything that happens, like a water leak or a fire, you and the estate will be covered. All right, so I've shared a lot about the cost of selling a home. And as promised in part 1, let's talk about common home seller concessions. It's rare that you receive the perfect offer when selling a home in San Diego. And you rarely receive an offer where you can close without making any concessions to the buyer. In fact, according to the Zillow Consumer Housing Trends Report, 83% of sellers make some kind of trade-off with the buyer to facilitate the sale of the real estate. 83% of sellers make a trade-off with the buyer and a concession, and most likely part of the cost of selling a home in San Diego. You will also have some concessions to get the San Diego home sold. Here are a few concessions you'll want to be aware of. Post-inspection repairs. Rarely, well, never in my over 20 years when selling a home in San Diego, does an inspection report come back perfect. So it's common for buyers to request repairs from sellers. As a result of an inspection report, sellers often either lower the sale price so the buyers can make the repairs themselves or have the repairs completed as a condition of the deal. But as a broker that helps with homes in probate or trust administration, I will negotiate funds from the estate's seller proceeds as part of the real estate fees, and then the buyer can complete their requested repairs after they own the home in San Diego. An added benefit is that by negotiating funds from the estate's proceeds, all liability for the proposed repairs are removed from the executor, administrator, or trustee and the estate. You and I, we would consider that a huge win. Next, as part of the real estate fees, is a home warranty for the buyer. As a way to sweeten the deal for potential buyers, sellers sometimes cover the cost of a home warranty as part of their real estate fees. A 1-year home warranty can cost approximately $600 depending on the coverage. Some buyers will also request credits toward closing costs. Another concession buyers often request is that the seller cover all or part of the buyer's closing costs, which effectively minimizes the amount of cash a buyer has to bring to closing. Recently, I have been helping with a 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo in Mission Valley, that's kind of the middle of San Diego, and we weren't getting any offers on the property. We were getting some showings, but no offers. So I talked with my client who really wanted to be done with this property, and we came up with an idea. The price of the property for 2 bedrooms, 2 baths, about 850 square feet, and it does have quite a bit of amenities like a pool, spa, tennis court, racquetball court, all kinds of stuff like that, but it had a huge HOA fee, $434 per month. So because my client wanted to sell the property as quickly as possible and be relieved of the remaining work for the trust, I came up with an idea. I approached him and I said, hey, what do you think about offering 12 months of prepaid HOA fees? And we came up with a number of $5,000 and something. He told me to put into the listing to offer $7,000 credit to the buyers towards closing costs or the HOA fees, whatever they wanted. You know what happened? Within 3 days of offering the $7,000 that my client said to put into the listing, we had an offer, a good offer, and it's moving along nicely. They've completed their appraisal and their inspection, and we expect to close in the next few weeks. This is making my client really happy. And so this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about that sometimes sellers need to offer to buyers in order to get them to offer on the property. So for the seller, that amount of money comes out of the profit made on the home at closing. And now we'll switch to the typical closing costs for sellers of a home in San Diego. Average closing costs for sellers range from 7% to 9% of the home sale price, including both agents' commissions, between 5 and 6% of the sale price, and seller fees, about 2 to 4% of the sales price. With the median home price in the San Diego area at over $900,000, that puts the closing cost range at about $65,000. Seller closing costs include agent commission. The majority of your closing costs come from paying commission to real estate agents. It's typical that the seller pays their own agent and the buyer's agent both. Again, these real estate fees are negotiable, but I like to remind potential clients to consider this. If the agent or broker that you are considering to help you with the home in San Diego can't negotiate for themselves for their own fees, what would you expect to happen once home buyers' offers come in? Do you think the agent broker will be your warrior when it comes to negotiating the best price and terms for your loved one's home and the estate? Maybe, and it's something to consider. A seller real estate fee when selling a home in San Diego is transfer tax, also known as a government transfer tax or title fee. Here in San Diego, that fee is 1.1% of the sale price of the home. And those funds go directly to the city of San Diego, maybe the county of San Diego, but that's a fee that everybody pays when selling a home here in San Diego. Next, we have title insurance. Sellers are also typically required to pay for a title insurance policy for buyers, which protects their interest in the home if there are issues with a disputed title or outstanding liens. Costs can be $1,500 to $3,000 range and come out of the estate's net profits at closing. Escrow fees. Buyers and sellers typically split the cost of the escrow fees. They are the third-party company that handles the disbursement of funds in the sale. The escrow fees depends on the purchase price, but they're typically between $2,000 and $4,000 and can also include extra line items for office expenses, transfer fees, and notary fees. Prorated property taxes. The estate is responsible for the property taxes on the home up until the day of closing, so you'll see prorated charge on your settlement statement. Keep in mind that the property taxes when selling a home in San Diego will be adjusted, and I don't mean down, as of your loved one's date of death. The property taxes as of the date of death can be shocking because most of my clients, maybe their parents bought the house decades ago and maybe their property taxes are yearly $1,800, but now the house is worth $1 million. Well, the property taxes will adjust up based on the date of death market value. So that means if a house is worth $1 million, most likely the taxes are going to be somewhere in the $11,000 or more per year. I know it's shocking when it increases like that, and that's what causes many of my clients to not even think about keeping their loved one's home as a rental property. They sell it because the taxes are so inflated that it's no longer worth to them to keep the property. Next, we have HOA fees. Similar to the property taxes, if your loved one lived in a community with a homeowners association, the estate will also be required to pay the dues prorated up to the close date. There will also be a fee for the transfer of ownership, and that's typically around $400 or more on your real estate fees. The next really important thing is choose an agent to help you with the process. As you can see, it can be quite costly to sell a house in San Diego. Ensuring that you have the best chance to sell your loved one's home means being sure to talk with an experienced real estate broker. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit that bell button and the like, and go ahead and comment down below. I answer all your questions and I read all your comments. I look forward to seeing you next week.